Yeah. Yeah.
What's up, everybody? Welcome into the Run-In Podcast. I am your host, Big Mike. That is my boy, my number one guy, Sp3d. How you doing tonight, Sped?
Man, I'm doing all right. Got to watch some hockey last night, and it was pretty good. Caps got to win. Ovi got a goal, folks. Ovi got a goal.
Okay. I don't know what any of those things mean. I'm from Alabama. I don't know what hockey is. That's the one they play on the ice, right?
Yeah, that's when. They beat each other up too.
Go Penguins. That's a team, right?
That's a team.
Yeah, there we go. All right, but this is the Run-In Wrestling Podcast, your number one source for hate-free, drama-free wrestling commentary. We will get into the entire week of wrestling. Big week this week. Really good shows all around, I thought. WWE and AEW. Halloween Havoc coming up. We will get our predictions for Halloween Havoc to see if I can add a belt to my crown collection.
It's coming to me.
I do have the WWE and AEW crowns for the run-in right now. And if you follow me on X at _BigMike27, you will see that this guy over here or that guy over there, whichever way I'm pointing, I'll learn how to do that in a minute, has made a really cool championship belt for our NXT predictions. Whoever wins that will have that belt. So we will definitely get into that tonight. Sped, what'd you think about just an overall grade for wrestling of the week so far?
Honestly, I'm gonna give it an A+. Everything was great all the way around. We got great storytelling from SmackDown to Raw. AEW's going great, folks. Like, come on, it's getting really good. Things are getting interesting over there. All right. And NXT this week showed out yet again. All right. I like it. We're gonna have a good conversation about NXT later. There's a lot of good matches coming. AEW, we're gonna have a great conversation about that one. There's some good storytelling, and you guys are always been asking about it. They're doing it, and they're doing it well.
Wait, is LL in here?
LL, I don't know.
Okay, yeah, you didn't get that reference. At least I got it. That's a good. But we will get started with our normal weekend review.
I'm thinking LL Cool J.
That's who it is. Have you not heard his song?
That's what I was thinking. Okay, cool. Yeah. Okay. Dang. I was thinking that.
We've known each other long enough. You should know that reference.
Yes, I know.
I'm a hip hop kid just like you are. Come on now. But we will get into the week of wrestling, starting off with SmackDown. Go over a quick rundown. Before the show earlier that day, KO put out a video kind of explaining his actions of Bad Blood and the last week before turning on KO or turning on RKO and Cody. I thought the video was really cool. I wasn't a big fan of it being behind the scenes when it started, but I'm glad they have continued that progression and kept kind of the same feel to it. It gives it more of an edge now since you're continuing it. So I thought it was really well. Did you get to see the video? What'd you think about it? And what'd you think of his reasoning?
Do you remember the Ring of Honor, Kevin Steen, I think it was 2015, maybe?
Yep.
Okay, do you remember that when he was about fired for being who he is on that? This is what that reminds me of. All right. And I like it. I like it. 2025, folks, is going to be a good year for Kevin Owens. Watch. He's doing great stuff right now. There's behind the scenes stuff, him not trusting the WWE, saying that they stabbed him in the back. Randy stabbed him in the back, stuff like keeping him away from SmackDown. This is good stuff. And when it all said and done, I can see a good chance. I'm not saying it right now. I say a good chance that we see Kevin Owens with WWE gold in 2025.
I agree. I think he could definitely. I don't think he goes after. I think he goes after Cody. I don't think he takes Cody's belt. I think he does face off. I think it's leading to him and Randy Orton probably at Crown Jewel. That's another big time matchup that you could have at Crown Jewel.
Yeah,
they may set that up tomorrow night with everything else going on. I know Randy asked for it. I think it will lead to either Kevin Owens or Randy Orton, maybe whoever the winner of that match is, being Cody's next challenger at Survivor Series, which I hope, which means he stays away from the bloodline, which we'll get to here in a second. And yes, there is Lady Alpha, our fan from day one, with the plug for the show. Thank you, everybody. Please like and subscribe on the channel. Also, make sure you're following us on X. You've got Sp3d on Twitch. Hey to all of Sp3d's Twitch's fans. I guess I'm going to come up with some kind of name for those guys. But yeah, thank you guys for joining us. Alpha agrees. I'm assuming that's with your take about how great the wrestling has been this week. I agree as well. It's been great. But getting back to Kevin Owens, I think it's going to end up being him and Cody at Survivor Series, and then maybe Randy down the road towards maybe not WrestleMania, maybe Royal Rumble, because obviously they're probably going to do a bigger match with The Rock or somebody like that, or Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. But he did have that. It's been a good story. I would expect another video tomorrow if he doesn't show up in person to set up, what's coming up next. Next up, you had the tag team tournament that they've announced. We're doing something with the both tag teams on both shows now.
Yeah, but are we really if we really want good to show off the tag division, why is the Street Profits losing in the first round? I don't understand this.
So the way they did it protects them, though. I do like the way they did it. I'm a huge Street Profits fan as well. I don't mind them losing this because of the way they got DIY the win. Going back, Lady Alpha agrees with the Kevin Owens thing, so thank you, ma'am. I always appreciate. But there's a couple reasons why DIY goes over. I think they've had some history with the Motor City Machine Guns, who won the other match.
Yes,
it won their debut match. It was a really great match. I really like their intro, how they're really leaning into a lot of that. The Motor City Machine Gun aspect, their theme. But I think they've had a history. They've wrestled before a few times in the past, so I think that's a more comfortable match for them, being their second match of their career. So I think they're going to be able to put on a better match than maybe the Street Profits and the Motor City Machine Guns would anyway. And let's face it, the Motor City Machine Guns are going to win regardless. This whole tournament's set up to showcase them so they can get a shot at the bloodline. Who knows what happens at that point? And if you're going to throw one of them to the wolves and not have them win anyway, at least you're letting DIY, someone they're familiar with, take that loss. And the way they did it, again, still protects the Street Profits, where they both pinned at the same time. It just happens to be that the Street Profits pinned the wrong Pretty Deadly member.
Yeah, no, I get it. Yeah, no, I think it's almost inevitable that we're getting a Street Profit turn here soon. They're about to be heel. And I think this might work better for them. Instead of being flashy and being serious, Montez can cut a promo, and Angelo, he's really tough in the ring, and he can cut a promo too, actually. So I think this turns to a heel, though. They're going to turn heel because of all of this. And
do they turn heel? Or I've seen some other people talk about maybe this is how the singles run starts for Montez. I know
that'd be beautiful.
We've been pushing that for years.
We have, and he has too. A little bit at a time.
Exactly. Because him and Dawkins are friends behind the scenes too. It's not like they're just throwing together tag team. They're best friends in real life. So obviously he doesn't want to kill the momentum of his best friend, but he still wants he wants to be able to shine himself.
Oh yeah, and so I think he would be great as a single star.
I don't know which way they go with it. I think it's one of the good things about wrestling is you could go either way, which we'll kind of get into when we get into AEW, kind of a similar situation with a different tag team that somebody may like here on this panel.
Yeah, I know.
A little foreshadowing for future reference. But you did have DIY and the Motor City Machine Guns, who are going to face off tomorrow night on Friday Night SmackDown to be the number one contenders for the Bloodline. And here's the main question I've got, and we'll get into it more next week because I don't know. I don't think that match is going to happen on Crown Jewel. I think it'll be probably next week's SmackDown, since it is against the Bloodline, and maybe next week's SmackDown Championship match. Do either team, whether it's the Motor City Machine Guns or DIY, have a chance in hell of dethroning the Bloodline?
Actually, I think, and this is being real when I say this, Motor City Machine Gun, I think those guys have a chance. One reason. They screwed up on Monday. All right? Bloodline, They screwed up on Monday. And when I say by that, they cost Jay the IC title, and now Jay and Jimmy are about to cost them their titles. So there's going to be no titles going into War Games. It's just going to be straight Bloodline. That's what I think is about to happen. I don't know about what you guys think, but that's what I think.
I agree. I mean, I said the other day that I didn't want any titles except for Jay's Intercontinental title because I didn't want him limping in. I was proven wrong on that. I like the way they did that angle on Raw, how they had him come to SmackDown, confront the new bloodline, then
Yeah,
the
but then he
bloodline comes
cost
over.
himself though on that end. He should have just stayed away. Why not just stay
Yeah,
away? Nobody was messing with you. Yeah.
yeah, but it's been Diesel has said for many years that it's all about family.
Yes.
So he had to go speak up for his family. He tried to do the right thing. He didn't really threaten the new bloodline. He said, "Look, we're here. I just want to bring the family together, no matter how it is, no matter what happens." Because he didn't really do anything with Roman and Jimmy later on in the night, where Roman was trying to say, "Well, we're proud of you" and all that, where he just kind of left. And even Solo came back on Monday, and at the beginning, Solo wasn't trying to cost him. At the beginning,
No.
Solo was there to support him,
Oh, he did
and
save
because he
him.
rejected him there. Yeah,
Yep.
exactly. So I don't think it started out that way on Friday. So I don't think he cost himself on Friday. I think he cost himself on Monday when he
Yeah.
rejected him when they were there trying to help.
Yeah. No, I get that.
But I agree. I think the Motor City Machine Guns do have a great chance. If it's DIY, there's zero chance that the Bloodline loses. Just because I don't think they're going to make that change again. The Motor
Nope.
City Machine Guns, who I agree with Davey. Davey, thank you for joining us. We appreciate
Yes.
it.
Top 5.
New,
Yes.
definitely top 5 of all time. They should have been in WWE 10 years
A
ago.
long time ago.
But I mean, I'm glad to see them there now. Better late than never.
We said
Definitely
the same thing with
deserve all the
AJ.
praise. Exactly. And maybe it's just them wanting to be. Well, again, there too, WWE went there for a while where they didn't want to hire people from other bigger promotions until
Yes.
AEW started coming around, and maybe a little bit before AEW. So there was some of that there too, some of the old regime.
Yeah.
But definitely seeing Motor City Machine Guns uh, helped my wrestling heart a little bit because they're a team, along with AJ, a long time ago, was somebody that I always thought would be really good. Um,
Yes.
Same when Samoa Joe came over. When I first
Yes.
saw Samoa Joe in WWE coming from TNA, I thought that was amazing.
Well, we're going to say
Um,
the same thing here soon when Penta and Ray Phoenix come over. They should have been in the WWE a long time ago, but that's a different
yeah,
time to talk about that. But we're going to be saying the same thing about that, here soon. Those guys, they're entertaining. All these guys that are
oh, yeah.
finally coming in, these one thing that kind of irritated me on SmackDown was how quiet the crowd was for when Motor City Machine Gun came out. Man,
Yeah.
these guys have been lighting it up for 10 plus years. All right. They've been top 5, maybe even top 2 in the world for a long time, for a decade plus. And yet they come out and everybody's like, "What? Who are these guys? Who are them?" And that's
Yeah.
kind of like, how are you guys calling yourself fans and pretending without actually knowing what's up? I mean, we're living in an age where you can go on YouTube and watch it. You know,
Yeah, but there again too, I don't blame fans for not necessarily knowing who they are because if you're just a fan of WWE, you're a fan of WWE, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with it.
there's nothing wrong with it. No, but there's a lot of people
So
out here that claim they know who they are, and then they're like, "I've never seen them wrestle before," and you're like, "Really, really?" You
yeah,
know?
and I'm not necessarily talking about them when I'm saying this. I'm talking about the people in the building that you were saying were
Oh
quiet
yeah,
in the
no.
building.
Well, there's a lot
All
of them
those
in there.
kids, all those parents that wanted to come see Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes because of everything they've been doing the past 2 or 3 years and everything that the WWE has become. I don't expect them to know who the Motor City Machine Guns are. They had some
Brooklyn.
cool vignettes, but you really didn't know who they were unless you knew them from TNA.
Yes.
So that signing is one, quote unquote, as the AEW fans like to say, one for the sickos.
Okay.
One's the people that watch every wrestling show like us, that love all the wrestling. That pops us, but it doesn't necessarily pop the casual WWE audience.
What about Brooklyn? Do they give them the pop they deserve in WWE? I think Brooklyn would. They're a wrestling city.
They could.
A lot of people, they got AEW, TNA comes in. I mean, Ring of Honor used to go there all the time. So they are they are a wrestling city. So I hope Motor City Machine Gun get that pop. They
Yeah, and
deserve
I
it.
think it may be like you're saying. I think it may be more about timing. When they
Okay.
went where they debuted coming in, as opposed to just overall people not knowing who they are. I mean, and that crowd wasn't that great. Like you said, it was. I say not that great. The crowd wasn't that loud all night, even with other aspects. So it's not necessarily on them that they didn't, or on the machine, on the guns that they didn't know, or that they didn't get the pop. It was kind of a quiet, kind of a quiet crowd all night.
Yeah.
And Davey, you are correct. Penta's contract is almost up. I think he's got like another month, and then Ray's is supposed to be up. They were supposed to get out at the same time, but they added some injury time. Tony Khan did.
Yeah.
Because and Tony Khan's come out, or not necessarily Tony Khan. There are people in AEW that have come out and said, "Look, we're doing this because essentially WWE was contract tampering. They were sitting there negotiating while they were under contract with us. So I'm going to add all the time I can.
Yeah.
If you're going to do that to me, I'm going to do it to you. And you know what? That's within his right. That's within his ability. Nothing wrong with it. If you're gonna try to steal my talent away from me while I'm there, I'm going to do everything I can to make sure you don't get it. I know a lot of people were upset about that, and I realized Tony Khan said he wasn't going to do that at one point, but business is business.
Business is business. You can't be mad at that. No.
Exactly. The only other thing on SmackDown, we've talked about the Bloodline, talked about KO and the tag matches. The only thing of note that I saw was the singles debut on the main roster of Lash Legend.
Oh, and
yes, sir. She shined, beating Piper Niven, all the power moves. She's going to be a star. The quicker they bring her up, the better. And of course, this all leads in because you had all the tag team drama on the women's tag team that carried over into Raw and into NXT. But just watching her, and they did Piper for a reason. It's the same reason they had Otis come to NXT and she body slammed Otis a few months back. They want to show that she's a powerhouse.
Yep.
They want to show that she's dynamic, and she is all those things. I think her promo game needs to step up just a little bit, but I think she's ready for the main roster. She can learn on the fly with the promo. What do you think about the match there? And, where do you think she goes from here?
I think she's about to either be the first ever women's United States champion, or she's about to rise to the top, but I know I see Charlotte's coming back soon, so I don't see that happening. Mid-card it might be, but what did they call her finisher? Lash extension? Is that what it was?
Extension, yep.
I thought that was a great name for a finisher for her, but she looked great in the ring. And don't get it twisted, Piper Niven looked great in the ring too. She always does, but Lash is one of those females that are going to take WWE to the next level for the next generation. She is the future, and the future is very bright in the women's division. It's so stacked top to bottom right now in that women's division. You don't know who's going to win what and where, except right now, Well,
I mean, and we could do a whole show on just the women's, on women's wrestling in general in all companies. But right now in WWE, with all the women that they've had come in, which we'll get to here in a minute, and all the women they've got coming up, I mean, we could do a whole show just talking about in fantasy booking the females in WWE. That's no slight to AEW or TNA's women's division, because they're great as well. They've got a lot of great things going on, which we'll talk a little bit about.
So deep when
we talk about AEW. But yeah, I mean, I can't wait for her to come up to the main roster. There's plenty of women there in NXT now with everybody that's come in. They don't need her in NXT.
Mm-hmm.
They can have her, and Jakara comes up. Jakara is still a little bit more of a project, still learning. But they could definitely have them come up and be an impact. Like I said last week, I hope they go to Raw, which we will switch over to. Do you have anything else that you wanted to talk about from SmackDown in your notes?
No, I don't.
Okay. So anybody out there? Yep. So Athena and Giselle Shaw from MLP last past weekend. Again, that goes into everything else we were saying. Man, Athena is probably the most underrated wrestler in the business right now, being stuck in Ring of Honor and never being on TV. But man, I'd love to see her on a more prominent basis in AEW, or if she wants to come back to WWE. How you doing?
How great was it to hear? What was it, Mauro Ranallo? That guy,
Mauro Ranallo, yeah.
How great was it to hear him again calling a wrestling match?
Yep.
I couldn't believe he wanted WWE let him go. They should have just signed him again.
So
but I understand what he wanted to do.
Yeah, he wanted to leave because of which
I get it.
Really get into.
Yeah, no, I get it. I looked into it I was like, oh my God. Yeah, no, I get it.
Yep. Moving on over to Raw. did Solo screw up? That kind of leads into the bloodline. They did come in, started to recruit Jay at first in the main event. Jay ended up saying no. Solo ends up costing, or Solo and Jacob end up costing Jay the Intercontinental title. And I'll let you go with that. Do you think Solo screwed up?
I think he did. Honestly, I did. He should just left him alone. Let him have to say what he wanted to say, or just sat out there with his 2 tickets. I thought that was funny. When he came out, he's like, "I got tickets." That was great. But all in all, Solo, I think there's a big crack starting to form in this new bloodline where you're starting to see Jacob take control because he's starting to see things. He saw his tribal chief move the enemy out of the way. He saw, his tribal chief tell him to stand down after Jay told him, like, listen, you keep eyeballing me like that, we're gonna have to fix this, So there's things that Jacob's noticing, and I think Solo's starting to see it too a little bit, but he's not, like, he's denying it. So he did screw up, in my opinion, because it's going to come full circle at War Games when he probably takes the pin out of all of this.
I don't know, man. You think Jacob takes the pin?
No, I think Jacob turns on Solo.
Okay. I was supposed to say, I was like, you have lost your mind.
No, hell no. Why would Jacob take the pin? That'd be rude.
That's what I was thinking. I don't see. There's too many other people. I mean, you've got both Tongans in that match who could. I mean, Tongaloa obviously can take the pin, and nobody's going to say anything.
Nobody's going to.
I don't know if it's Solo. I don't think Solo takes the pin because I still think they want some money matches between probably Jay and Solo, Roman and Solo, things like that. So I don't think they let Solo take a pin. I do think obviously he screwed up in a storyline progression. Obviously, we know everything going on there. I think bringing Jay into it even more. If he would have just left Jay alone, even with Jay coming to Friday and saying what he said, if Solo doesn't show up on Monday, then Jay probably just leaves it alone after that. This gives Jay the perfect reason to join his brother and Roman to come in and create, 3/4 of the other opposite team of the bloodline. Here's my question to you, though. It's 3-on-4 now. Who do they go get at number 4?
This is going to kill KO, but I think they're going to go after Sammy. I'm not, I think they get the honorary use back, just for this. He has been in War Games with Roman and the bloodline before, and he's shown that he's loyal until you mess him over type of deal. Yeah. But let me ask you this, though, real quick. 40 days, 30 to 40 days on that reign for Jey Uso. Does he get it 28. Back? 28? That was it? Damn, I thought it was in the 40s. Yeah, does he get it back, though, after War Games?
I don't know. I mean, that mid-card realm is so full on Raw.
Oh, yes, big time.
It's hard to say. I mean, and I think this is where they need to jumpstart Braun Breaker's kind of massive push that he should have got from the beginning. He's had some hiccups now, with the whole Sammy thing, losing the first and then coming back and winning it. Now he's had a hiccup with Jay. You can't keep doing that.
No.
If you're going to let him be dominant, he's got to be dominant starting now.
Yes.
There can't be any more, oh, well, I overlooked him. Well, you beat me the first time. Now let me come get another shot. You can't have any more of that with him if you're going to keep his character the same. Now, if you want to turn him into a different character, that's fine. But if he's going to be the badass Braun Breaker, he's got to start mowing through people. Real contenders, because every real contender now he seems to lose to first and then come back and beat them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Bronson Reed's probably knocking on the door soon. I think that's going to be a phenomenal match. Those guys, those guys are tearing it up, man. Those two are tearing it up, starting a show like they did. It was beautiful.
Yeah, I think Bronson Reed and Seth are starting a series. I said this last week. I'm glad the first match, I predicted it last week. The first match is going to be on Crown Jewel.
Yeah.
They will have a follow-up match at Survivor Series. They may have a final match on the Royal Rumble or, whatever they do in December, any kind of special shows. I don't think this is going to be a one and done match, just because they haven't put a stipulation on it.
Yeah.
with everything that they've been going through, everything they've been doing, killing each other the past couple weeks, the way Bronson Reed started it by the 6 tsunamis, there's got to be some kind of stipulation, kind of the same way we looked at Drew and Punk. Just a regular singles match isn't going to end this feud. It can't.
But
It's too personal.
did you see the interview with what was it, Chris Van Velt or whatever?
Chris Van Vliet?
Yeah, that guy. He had Bronson Reed on, and he was like, "Yeah, I was only supposed to do the tsunami a couple of times, but then the crowd was like, one more." He's like, "Okay,
Yeah. We talked about that last week. He started
oh yeah,
listening
that's
to the
right,
crowd. Yeah, where it ended up just being 6. Whatever.
yeah."
It is what it is
He's
at that
good.
point.
I'm all for this. Reed
Of course,
getting a good push with a Seth. This is
Yeah.
what he needs.
And I do think after he loses that feud eventually, because Seth's not going to take the loss in the feud overall.
Yeah.
I think he probably drops into the mid card there again, probably around Mania season. I could see them having a good multi-man match for the Intercontinental title and him being a part of it at WrestleMania, like they've done a few times in the past. Maybe not a ladder match, but just a multi-man match.
Yeah.
And then Seth will go on with CM Punk, and then maybe he'll challenge Gunther after Gunther's next challenger at Survivor Series, which I think will be Punk going into that. You've got Drew McIntyre, who could be in either situation. There's just a lot of congestion in the title picture
Yes.
at Raw, so I don't think that Jey Uso automatically comes out of the Bloodline feud, whether they win or lose, and jumps straight into a title picture. I just don't see it.
Unless he goes back to a tag team.
Could be. They could do something like that. And if the Bloodline win against their tag team challengers next week or whenever, and they could do, a tag team title with the Usos against the Tongans.
Yeah.
Brothers versus brothers. They could always do that as well. But I don't think he comes, and maybe I should have said that. I don't think he comes back into the Intercontinental title picture.
No, I feel what you're saying.
Yeah. Also on Raw, so that was kind of the main angle on Raw. And we should have started with this. It was announced before Raw that Samantha Irvin was leaving. One of the best ring announcers ever. Definitely the best ring announcer in a long time. I am glad to see Lillian Garcia back. I was a big fan of hers. I know she had some miscues on and everything on Monday, but look, it was first day back on the job.
I was going to say that.
You're kind of thrown into it. That's understandable with all the information. And people don't get this because they're not wrestling nerds and don't look into things that you should never really look into, like what goes into being a wrestling announcer. They have binders of books that has all the information for every wrestler, where they're from, how much they weigh, how tall they are, on background information that they may need. They have books that they have to memorize and read. Sometimes you've even seen Samantha with the binder in her lap sitting over there. That's all the information they have to retain and go through and get to in such a short notice to be able to announce these matches. I'm not going to get on her for making one or two mistakes because she misspoke and said container instead of contender. And anybody who watches this show knows that I'm not a very great speaker. So I am not going to be that guy that sits here and roasts her when I know damn good and well I could not do her job.
Well, I couldn't. No.
Exactly.
She did great, man. She's also in her upper 50s. Come on. Yeah, she hasn't done this in years. Yeah,
8 years from what she said. 8 years full time it's been since she's done full time ring announcing.
Yeah, so it's been a minute.
But we definitely here at the Run-In want to send love to Samantha Irvin. She did an amazing job. I wish her, or I say we, I won't speak for y'all that you say your own.
Oh no, I wish got it down here too. Yeah, you're good. It's on the bottom bar.
Anything that she wants to get into, whether it's AEW, which obviously I've heard it's not. She wants to pursue her music career and do other things. More power to her. I wish her all the success and luck in the world. I think she will be amazing at whatever she does. She does have an amazing singing voice. She's an amazing flute player, which I know is kind of a random thing, but she does do that as well. She's great at anything. So good luck with her. Anything else she does in her career. And if she goes to AEW, more power to her. She wants to go work with her husband. She wants to be on another show. Hey, that's what this country is built on. You go do the job you want to do. And if you have the ability and the option to do that, then by God, go do it. And I'm not going to sit there and dog somebody for wanting to go do it.
That's what I'm saying.
Back to the show. So the only other real thing of note that I thought of was, again, the tag team tournament. The New Day and the LWO both, kind of kick off to go into the next round of their number one contenders tag team tournament for the Judgment Day's tag team titles. It does set up Austin or Xavier Woods well, kind of going back with Rey Mysterio after their match a couple weeks ago. So what do you think about those matches and kind of the angle with? We'll get to the angle after that. What do you think of the matches?
Well, all right. So we're still getting teased Woods turning, and I don't know how much longer they can tease it. Yeah, this has got to happen soon, you know? And it's sad to say it, but I think it's got to happen with the after Crown Jewel before War Games, so that they actually on the big pay-per-view to do it. But I'm losing the only thing I'm actually interested in is what Woods has to say. You know, like that's it. The Woods is correct on everything. Why is Kofi going back and helping out when Woods is supposed to be the QB? You know, and why is Kofi, you know, putting him up against these guys and then telling him to shake his hand afterwards after he loses to, you know, for the Intercontinental Championship, loses to Jey Uso for the Intercontinental Championship. So I feel for Woods more than anything in this whole storyline because he's correct and nobody's going to see it that way. You know?
Did you see the video he put out yesterday?
With
or this morning?
not skateboarding,
Yeah.
he was rollerblading.
He's roller
Yeah.
skating?
Yeah. That's what I was referring to too. He's correct about everything he's saying, you know?
Yeah, definitely. I'm hoping it happens soon, you know, because they've been dragging it out, you know, ever since Karrion Kross started talking to him with the Final Testament. You know, that the match was with AOP. I thought the AOP should have won that match, to be honest, and you could have done the turn there.
Yes,
But
that's what I thought was going to happen.
and obviously we saw the reason for it not happening is after the match. You know, they were beating down R-Truth. In comes the Wyatt Six. It is apparent that is the next match for
That's
the
gonna be
Wyatt Six is
beautiful.
going to be the Final Testament and the Miz.
Yes.
So that's and oddly enough, that's a 4-on-4, 5-on-5, depending on how you want to look at it. If you throw Scarlett and Nikki in there, could be a potential Raw War Games match coming to Survivor Series as you're setting it up.
You know what would be crazy? A traditional Survivor Series match, Final Testament, the Wyatt Six. Don't put war, you know, don't do the War Games for the Bloodline, but give us a traditional Survivor Series match. Final Testament, Wyatt Six. That will be electric. I've been waiting to talk about this because you remember Evolution versus the Shield a few years ago and how everybody was ecstatic about that, and then Shield versus the Wyatt family, and everybody was, oh my, we thought we were in heaven on that one. This is going to be phenomenal. Bo Dallas and the Wyatt Six, Karrion Kross in the Final Testament. This is going to be electric, and I am down for it. I hope it's a series of matches and not just a one-off, you know. But give me
I think they'll have some singles matches. Yeah, they'll have some singles matches to lead up to it, and they'll all be great.
Oh, yeah.
You know, everybody, and the AOP is great. You know, they'll go up probably against, you know, Loomis and
Gacy.
Yeah, Loomis and Gacy. You've got, you know, Karrion Kross can go up against Bo Dallas. The Miz and Truth, if they're inserted in it, I kind of don't want R-Truth to be part of the Wyatt Six, but his character can deal with it. Just as wacky as he is, he could see he's part of the Wyatt Six in some kind of goofy fashion. So I could definitely see them doing that.
Day.
It could be, yeah, just because they're black and spooky. But yeah, definitely. I mean, it would be an amazing Survivor Series match. And like we talked about a couple weeks ago, I would love to see the return of traditional Survivor Series matches.
Give me a traditional.
I used to love those.
Yes, give me a traditional 5-on-5 Survivor Series match. And you got it right there.
Yeah.
You got it.
And then you could even get the women involved, you know, because they could take their spot. And then if one of the women gets eliminated, both women are eliminated. There you go. Or even have them come down to the final two. Everybody else gets eliminated, although I don't think you'll let Uncle Howdy, Bo Dallas get eliminated like that, but you never know.
Yeah, you don't know what's going to happen. Yeah.
But yeah, definitely. I think that would be an amazing match. I can't wait to see what they do. Personally, as much as everybody loves the Wyatt Six, I'm a sucker for Karrion Kross. If you follow me on X, you know that. I don't want to see the Final Testament lose just because I'm such a huge Karrion Kross fan.
Big Karrion Kross fan.
I don't know that they're going to be able to win the feud just because it's the Wyatt Six.
Yeah, no, I get that. I get that.
All right. Anything else on Raw that you saw that I'm missing?
All right, I'm gonna bring it up. Everyone wants that match between Rhea and Dominic Mysterio, and it shouldn't happen. We're not in the era no more where that can happen. You know, like Carlito made a joke, and everybody lost their mind over said joke. So imagine what would happen if Dominic accidentally hit Rhea. You know, like actually accidentally hit Rhea. You know, so I just let's get that out of there. Well, you know, I don't want. I just hope it doesn't happen. And then you guys are putting my man's in a death sentence against Gunther. Come on, come on.
There it is, folks. So I thought we were going to get through the show. I specifically didn't bring up Dom.
I know. I was waiting for it though. Okay?
I was trying to get through the whole show just to see if it happened, and there it is. It happened. I'm going to make a little banner on the bottom that says
35 minutes.
Said Dom's special minute or Sped's minute, Dom's Sped minute, something. I'll make a little banner that I can click and it'll pop up on the screen when you start on your Dom rant for the week.
Oh man!
And I'll admit, last week was my fault because I brought him up, but
yeah, that was.
I specifically I didn't put him anywhere in my notes just so I didn't see it. He still gets brought in. You got to admire your passion.
I'm getting his T-shirt.
Obsession.
I'm getting
more
that
power
T-shirt.
to you. Is he the street trash T-shirt? Is that him specifically?
Probably.
That sounds about right.
That's not. Yeah. Maybe. Should put chicken tendies on that.
Yeah, there you go.
Now there's nothing else on Raw. Let's go.
All right, and guys, in the comments, if you saw anything on Raw that you want us to talk about, we can jump back and jump into Raw. So if there's anything that we missed, please let us know in the comments. We'd love to talk about it. We also want to hear your opinions as we get into Halloween Havoc. There we go. Sped's ode to Dom. That's going to be it. I'm going to copy and paste that onto a banner, and then we will have that going on the show from now on. Whenever you start gushing over Dom, it will come up as Sped's ode to Dom weekly segment.
Oh man!
Moving on into NXT, great NXT show, all leading into Halloween Havoc coming up this Sunday from Hershey, Pennsylvania. Spedrock will be in the building, so all the performers will be on their best behavior, putting up their A game just to impress Sped. And Esteban, is Esteban still coming?
Yeah, I'm actually picking him up at midnight tomorrow. Yeah, I'm going down to Baltimore and picking him up, and then he's leaving Monday morning, so I might be able to go to Raw as well. So I'm going to try to hit Raw up as well on Monday.
Okay, and as we do every week, we can talk about the matches on Tuesday, but everything led into Halloween Havoc. I do want to shout out, everybody talks about representation at WWE and the lack thereof, but this show, every match was a female match except for one. Most of the segments were female. A huge representation of the female talent on the roster of this show. Culminating with the big tag match with the Fatal Influence against Julia and Stephanie Vacour. Great match, in my opinion.
Yes.
Great showcase for Stephanie Vacour. And I'll be the one to say it. And I'll hold pause a second so I can get a clean read so I can cut this later. I think Stephanie Vacour is better than Julia.
I was going to say something about that later, honestly.
Is that it?
It might be. It might be.
And this doesn't say anything about Julia. Julia's an amazing professional wrestler. Stephanie Vacour to me just looks more smooth in the ring.
She does. She looks
she looks, everything she does just looks natural, looks smooth. Julia, sometimes it looks like she may be thinking a little bit, and I get it. The Japanese style is completely different than the American style of wrestling, and it could be more of a learning curve. Again, I'm an idiot. I don't know anything about wrestling behind the scenes. I can't judge her either way, but I do my eye test looks like Stephanie Vacour is a little bit ahead of her. As much as we touted Julia coming in more than Stephanie, I think she's a little bit ahead.
Yeah, well, I mean, I even tweeted it out or posted it out or whatever and said that was a fantastic ending. That whole scenario, they spun the wheel. Dealer's choice, by the way, when we get to our picks and stuff. But that phenomenal ending with what's her name? Zaria.
Yeah, her new name is Zaria for Delta on the Indies. Yep.
Delta.
And, obviously,
that was beautiful.
WWE didn't want to use the name Delta because there's a lot of other Delta stuff. They didn't want her to get lost in the shuffle. Plus, they wanted kind of a new gimmick for her. It's different with Stephanie Vacour and Julia, who have long established names on the indies, who've been doing it a lot longer. Delta's still fairly new. She's obviously been doing it for a little while because she's amassed a pretty good following in a very quick time.
Oh yeah.
But I understand why you keep those two and why you change Delta. Plus, you've got the whole copyright thing of Delta Airlines, all the stuff like that. There's just too much stuff going there.
Yep.
I understand why they changed the name, and it's not
No,
a
I
bad
get it.
name. It's not going to be one of these names where it's like the Viking Experience, or is some of the other names that they've changed, coming in or going to the main roster where it's going to be crap. It's a
Yeah, no, I
decent
feel
name.
that.
It's not going to take anything away from her character. It's not going to take anything away from who she is. But yeah, I agree with you. I hate the fact that it got cut off like it did on the CW here in America. But yeah, definitely a good debut. We'll see. She's supposed to show up at Halloween Havoc. That's when she was originally billed. We'll see where she gets involved as we go through the matches here in a second. But definitely wanted to shout out just all the great matches that the women put on Tuesday.
Oh, it was a phenomenal show. Phenomenal show.
Yeah. So, and I
Yes.
agree, David. I think that's it altogether. It's just her pace is a lot slower. And again, it may be a different style. I see the same thing in like Kairi Sane and Io Sky when they first came in. It's more of that Japanese strong style where it's a lot slower, more hard hitting. The luchador way of wrestling is easier to come into an American style because it's a lot of choreographed flips, a lot faster movement. I completely agree with that. And again, that was nothing against Julia. I think she's amazing. I think she's going to do great things, just like Io Sky, just like Kyrie, just like Asuka have all done. But it took them a second in NXT to kind of get up to speed and go into kind of a more of an Americanized, I guess is not really a word, but I'll use it anyway, style of professional wrestling, as opposed to Luchador coming in, who still sees a lot of that. Just we'll say North American. It all blends together.
Yep. No, I see what you're saying.
But we will go through the card match by match. There are 5 matches as of right now. NXT is notorious for adding maybe one more match at the very end that nobody expects. I believe it probably could be a female tag match from everything that went on.
A fatal 4-way for the tag titles. I'm praying.
So there's Stardom is the fastest paced wrestling with in-ring and strikes. So there you go. So Stardom is a little bit faster. So maybe I have not experienced Stardom as much as I've experienced other stuff. So thank you, Davey. That's why we love our commenters, man. That's why we love
that's dope.
Because at no point in time do I think I know everything in wrestling, and I know Sped doesn't either. So definitely want to get other people's opinions. Thank you, Davey, for coming in and sharing your opinion as well. But yeah, that's definitely something I need to check out Stardom more often if that's the case. I know they've started putting stuff on YouTube recently where people in the States can watch a little easier. I did get to see one of their shows not too long ago. So without further ado, we will get into Halloween Havoc. Starting off with the ambulance match, it is Chase against Ridge Holland. Again, in an ambulance match, a lot of boiling over. Sped, who do you think is going to win this one?
All right, so I got Ridge Holland win this one just because they're building this guy up. They're building him up actually nicely. He ran through everybody else. I get it. There's going to be interference from Chase U. There's going to be returns and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, Ridge Holland gets the W. I think he keeps moving up. He's going to go for that North American title after, not now, but later on down the road. Here soon, actually, probably by December, we'll see him in the North American picture. But right now, Ridge Holland takes this match, and I got to write this stuff down.
Yeah, I did. That's my fault. I forgot to ask you. I usually ask you if you've got your notebook ready. I did not ask, so that's on me. It's all my fault. And while you're writing that down, I will remind everybody in the comments. Let us know who you think will win the match. We'll share your picks as well to everybody and see how you guys do. I tend to agree, and I'm going to say something that I thought would have been sacrilegious to me a couple of months ago. I think Ridge Holland should kill Chase U.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna. I put it in my notes, but I didn't want to be.
I'll say it. We said this in the show from day one. I'm going to be as real as I can. I think he should be the one that ends Chase U.
Yeah.
Let Chase and the guys go on their own way. You could still keep, especially like Duke going his own way, because I think Duke's probably a star.
Oh yeah.
We've already mentioned the women's division. Thea Hill could do really great things in the women's division. It's time. let this be, what better way than at Halloween Havoc to have a funeral for Chase U after Rich Holland destroys them and takes them out. And I agree, let Rich Holland move on to a North American title, or maybe even in the main event picture.
Yeah.
Once we get Trick and Ego, all that sorted out, maybe they do him in the main event before Oba goes for it. Regardless what happens with Tony. But yeah, definitely I see Rich Holland winning it. And I think this is the end of Chase U, as much as that pains my heart.
I think it's time to end it, though.
Yep. Next up, you have the match that we mentioned earlier. You've got Kalani Jordan with the North American Women's title against somebody in the Fatal Influence. Don't really know who. And it was Spinner's choice. So the Fatal Influence spun the wheel at the end of the show before Zarya came out. And that is going to be our question here after we pick our picks is will Zarya get involved? But it is Spinner's choice. First off, what do you think the stipulation is going to be? And two, who do you think wins?
What would be, okay, a 3-on-1 handicap match, okay, and have all 3 women in there. And then that's when they add in, they're like, oh, no, don't do that. It's a triple threat match now because you guys kind of being punks. But no, I think Jordan wins regardless what happens. I think Jordan wins this match. She's the future. She really is. The way they're showcasing her, the way her and Trick are in the back having a segment together. She's the future of that division, and they're going to keep giving her wins, but Zira is coming, and that's who's going to be the one that's going to take that title. I'm not saying she takes it now, all right? She takes it soon, but not at Halloween Havoc.
Okay. So, as far as the stipulation, I think you're right. In part of that is they should do a 3-on-1 handicap match.
Yeah,
I think they will do that. But I think, again, I agree with you, Kalani Jordan wins, but I think that's how she wins. I don't think Zarya gets in. I don't think Zarya gets in here at all.
Oh, okay.
I don't think she gets involved. I think what happens is they make it a 2-on-1 or a 3-on-1 match, handicap match, or just a 4-way match with all 3 of them and Kalani Jordan. And then they start getting mixed signals about who they want to win the North American title. And as they're doing some infighting, no, I want the title. No, I want the title, because they're not really friends. They just kind of came together because they didn't like the other people.
Yep.
It's not like it's a tight knit group, anything like that. It's really just them going against each other, and I think Kalani kind of gets out and saves herself as the babyface coming from behind, and takes advantage of one of them making a mistake, probably Jasmine Nix, and she's the youngest one. She could probably take the loss the easiest. And retains her title, and then maybe you get a feud with some of the other women in there. Zarya may come out at the end of the match to say, hey, I want your title next. Kind of that face-off they like to have. And then when they go to their next pay-per-view, or when they go to the show at the 2300 building, at the old ECW building, maybe that's where Zarya can go with Kalani there. But I don't think she gets involved in the match itself, maybe after the match.
Yeah, no, I feel what you're saying.
And as I'm looking, so I do agree with you, Davey. And he's talking about Jordan Grace and Masha Slamovich, who will go up for the TNA Women's title. This weekend. And we apologize. We don't talk a whole lot of TNA because, as I've mentioned in the past, I'm poor and can't afford the package to watch it, and have not found a good free site to watch it. So I don't want to do them any disrespect in talking about something that I don't know a lot of. So we don't really talk about him a whole lot. I am a huge Jordan Grace fan from what I've seen. I like Masha Slamovich as well. I don't know who would win that match. I would say Jordan Grace just because I've seen her more, but I don't know enough about Slamovich to really call that match with any integrity. So I thank you for your comment, and I didn't want to let it go without having some kind of acknowledgement. But that's definitely, it's going to be a great match from what I've seen of Slamovich and what I know of Jordan Grace. Next up on NXT, and we do have Tony D'Angelo, the North American champion, going against Opa Femi in a table, ladders, and scares match. And I don't know if you noticed, after the show Tuesday, there has been a slight change. So we talked last week about wanting to see the big man go up on a ladder and get the title. They have taken that out. It is
Oh.
no longer. They are not going to suspend the title above the ring. It is going to be a pinfall win at Tony D'Angelo's request for some reason. I'm not sure why, because that seems to take his main advantage away because he is the quicker of the two. He went to Ava after everything that happened on Tuesday and requested that it be a pinfall match, but they're still going to use tables, ladders, and chairs as weapons.
Yeah.
I wanted to say that before you made your pick to see if it changes your pick. So
It doesn't.
with that said, who do you think is going to win?
Tony D. Tony D is gonna win. And it's I look, I know that's your man's, and I'm gonna be so happy to be able to see this guy live. All right. But here's the deal. All right. Tony D is finally getting that singles push that he deserves. Okay. And Oba is the mountain that he has to get over before it's all smooth sailing for a little while. You know, you're gonna see a great match, but the family is gonna be the reason why Oba loses to Tony D.
And I might have agreed with you about wanting to see him, build up and make that over Oba if he had not cut the promo the Tuesday after he won the title.
Yeah, no,
If he had stayed that Rocky style, man, this is the greatest win of my career. I overcame all the odds. Nobody thought I was going to win, and I couldn't have done it without my family, without the people who've gotten me here, and then called him out like that. And then the next week, Oba comes and starts destroying him. I could see that.
Yeah.
Because now you've got real motivation. But you go back to being just a crime boss with a crime family, Oba's going to tear your ass up.
Oh, yeah.
Period.
Oh, yeah.
So Oba's going to win this, get the North American title back, go into the New Year's North American title, and then win the NXT title and have the moment that I've been begging for him to have since I've started this show, or since I've been on this show, since we've done all this. Before that, I want Oba to hold both titles above his head. I want him to have that moment before he comes to the main roster. I think he gets the title back here. I think he destroys D'Angelo, and I think the reason why they did what they did and changing it back, even though it's supposedly Tony's the reason they did it, is because it makes it easier for Oba Femi to win. I think if they had left it a ladder match, I think Tony D'Angelo had a shot.
I'm staying Tony D. I just got. If I lose, win or lose, I'm definitely recording myself there and be like, look, yeah, because it's the only way we don't agree on so far.
Yeah. And if Oba wins, you're there. I want a picture of him holding the title up.
Oh, yeah. No, I
already
told my wife, get some good pictures of Oba. But I was like, I told her, win or lose, if he's on his back, if he's holding the title up, get those pictures. And I got to put them up.
No, I appreciate it. All right, moving on to the main event. Trick Williams, All Ego Ethan Page for the NXT title in a Devil's Playground match, which is essentially just a hardcore match during Halloween time.
Yeah.
So, NXT champion Trick Williams just defeated All Ego Ethan Page at the last pay-per-view to get the title back after Ego defeated Trick, to get the belt in the first place. I have not gotten, I've seen it all over the internet. I saw it while I was at work. I have not gotten to see Ego's diss track, which I've heard has been amazing.
It's fire.
Just from everybody. I am going to go watch it sometime tonight before I go to bed. But it came out while I was at work, so I didn't have a chance to watch it.
It's freaking great. Oh my God.
So with that, who do you got?
All right. I got Trick Williams keeping that belt. All right. I got Trick Williams keeping that belt because All Ego Ethan Page doesn't necessarily need this W. Everything that he's doing with the behind the scenes of a diss track now, that was phenomenal. With what he's doing on the promos and matches, stuff like that, he still is portrayed as a guy that can beat Trick. He's beat him once, he could beat him again. But it's not right now. It's the Trick Williams era. They're gonna let that run for a little bit because he's about to get called up here in WrestleMania time frame. So they're going to gut it a little bit more. That as well as I do. So Trick wins and Ethan Page still looks good, but I think this is supposed to make Trick look better. This match is supposed to make Trick look better than good, and that's why I got Trick going over Ethan on this one. I had Ethan last time,
So as much as it's going to pain me, and it kind of pains me, it kind of doesn't. I'm going to agree with you. I think Trick wins, and I'm thinking of it more from a future booking standpoint. If you look at the NXT roster, Trick is really the only strong babyface right now,
Oh,
especially
yeah.
after last week when Javon Evans started kind of a heel turn.
Yeah.
You know, he kind of had that moment where he started to have a little bit more edge, kind of a heelish nature to him. So I mean, Trick is really the only babyface, big time babyface right now at the main event scene. So
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
you've got Wesley, you've got the all ego Ethan Page, you've got Sean Spears kind of in the background there, who was in some of the matches. Javon Evans has now turned. We talked about Ridge Holland, who is a big time heel. If he wins his match, he may get a shot. Another heel. Oba and Tony are kind of tweeners, depending on what week you want to look at. Sometimes Oba's booed, sometimes Oba's cheered. Tony D'Angelo, the same thing.
Yep.
I think you need a babyface champion with all the heels you have until you can build up another babyface.
Yeah.
So I think right now it makes more sense for Trick to win. And again, I'm with you. I don't think it hurts Ethan at all
It doesn't.
to not get the win. Like Davey said, he doesn't need the win. Do you think that they get Ethan to the main roster to pick up where the inning to kind of out with Punk? I think you may have mentioned that. Were you talking about Ethan going to the main roster? Or were you talking about Trick?
I think Trick goes to the main roster next year, and Ethan
Okay.
takes over the main event scene over in NXT for another year.
Okay.
Or
You think he
maybe not even a year, maybe until SummerSlam. But no, I would love to see Ethan Page on Raw. I think he will thrive on the main event scene for sure.
Yeah, and they've definitely leaned into it with some of the comments between him and CM Punk and things like that.
Yeah.
I think he likes being in NXT right now. Him and
More
Sean
freedom.
Spears both have said some stuff. Well, they've also said some stuff behind the scenes, being a little bit older.
Yeah.
Sean Spears especially, but even All Ego, they're having fun in NXT. They're getting to do stuff behind the scenes that they've always wanted to do at AEW and other places they've been that they haven't got a chance to do. So I think he may stay there a minute. Davey, that's what he's saying. Davey thinks Ethan is going to the main roster and Trick's not quite ready yet. I kind of tend to agree with that.
I agree with that.
Trick's a little shaky at times, so I think he would definitely need to spend some time down there in NXT still. But I think Ethan will choose to stay down there for a little bit so he can help other talent, kind of teach some stuff. Because I know I've heard Sean Spears go on record, and All Ego kind of mentioned it when he was with Chris Van Vliet, that he's enjoying kind of learning from Shawn Michaels, learning some of the other behind the scenes stuff that you can do more at NXT than really when you go to Raw or SmackDown, because you're more focused on the outer product as a roster member there. You can do a lot of behind the scenes stuff, some of the more production stuff like they want to learn right now, because they don't need help in the ring. They're there. They've got all of that. They know the WWE style. So I don't think that he necessarily isn't ready for the main event or the main card. I just don't think he wants it. I think he still wants to learn some more stuff in NXT.
He's got great teachers.
He does. All right, that's Halloween Havoc. So we only disagree on one match.
We didn't do the Cora Jade match.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. That isn't the main event. This is the main event. The one everybody came to see that I forgot about, unfortunately, after we talked all about the women's wrestling. It is Cora Jade and Roxanne against the pair of Julia and Stephanie Vacour, who got the win on Tuesday. Lady Alpha says she's got to cut out. Thank you, Lady Alpha. We appreciate you as always. Have a good night. So yeah, we'll get right into it. Who do you think it is?
Okay, so I think Stephanie turns on Julia in this match, and Cora and Roxanne pick up the W.
Okay.
You guys were talking about it earlier. You guys are saying Julia looks sluggish, a little slow. Well, why not put her up against someone that she's comfy with? Stephanie Vacour. She could run the same style. Both of them can. They both know it. And I was going to say this earlier. I think Stephanie has an advantage of working in the States, because I think she's worked over in AEW before.
She has.
Oh, yeah, and I think that's why she looks more comfortable here. I think she has more of an advantage than Julia does. But, yeah, I think Rox and Cora take this match.
That's what I'm talking about. I'm going for Julia and Vacour. And I think everything you said can be true, but for the opposite side.
No,
I
and I
think
thought about that.
as much history as Cora and Roxy have, I think at some point the title becomes too big and Cora starts looking over, Cora starts peaking. And I think, and I agree with you 100%. I think it makes a lot more sense for Stephanie Vacour to get the first shot just because of what we said earlier.
Yep.
I think it sets up a great match at the next pay-per-view or the next PLE or the next big show. Stephanie Vacour pins Roxy in this match, says, okay, I pinned you. Now I deserve a number one contenders match.
2,300.
At the 2,300 building, ECW, it would be a great match. You let Julia and Cora Jade. Cora Jade has a little bit of a slower style than Roxanne does, so I think that would be a better match for Julia to start with than with Roxanne.
You're right.
So I think that would load well together, and then that could actually be, okay, Cora and Julia, you guys were in the match as well. Whoever wins this match is the number one contender for whoever beats or whoever wins Roxanne and Vacour's match. So you set up both of those matches ahead of time, and then whoever you want to win wins. But yeah, I think that's how it ends. I think Julia and Stephanie Vacour get the win. Go on, and Stephanie Vacour ends up facing Roxanne for the title. Yeah, and there's Davey. She works
that's why
a little bit more. Okay. They faced each other as opponents in the Indies, but not as tag team partners. But yeah, I know. Famously, now she had the match with Mercedes Moné right before she went to WWE in AEW, which everybody says that's the reason WWE signed her. It may have been, may have not been. Who knows?
She had a great match.
She did have that match. Yeah, she did. It was a great match, and it definitely showcased her talent. So I'm sure it didn't hurt. You know, it may not be the main reason they signed her, but it definitely didn't hurt to put on a good show, a good match on a good show with an opponent that WWE is familiar with.
Yeah.
All right, that's Halloween Havoc. There we go. We disagree on two matches. So all my hopes are on Oba and Stephanie Vacour at this point. So good luck to those guys and bring home the belt to King Mike. Moving on, we can't go without talking about Dynamite. Amazing Dynamite show last night.
It really
was.
Fantastic.
There was only, on my notes, I only have one frowny face of the entire thing, and I think you could probably guess what that was. But I'll let you talk about what you thought of the show first, and then we'll kind of get into some specifics.
Let's talk about that ending real fast. Let's talk about that ending. One real quick. I know AEW was having viewership issues there for a little bit. They weren't cracking more than 575, 600,000. But now they're doing between 650 and 630 and 650 right now. And they're consistent with it. They're doing great stuff. People are noticing. This is starting to pick up over there in AEW. Business is picking up. And I have it second week in a row on my notes that they're over 600K on Dynamite. Right? So, Tony Khan's doing something right. People got to start watching, start looking at it. It's getting really good. And we're getting our wish, ladies and gentlemen. Orange Cassidy is finally going to be serious. We're not. Go ahead.
No, you're good. I'm going to let you steal my thunder. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I want to hear this. I've been waiting for this one.
So, and I tweeted it out earlier. And we'll kind of do a quick review. I know we're over time, which we usually go over time, so it is what it is. The BCC has done more in 2 weeks.
Yep.
To make me care about Orange Cassidy more than Orange Cassidy or AEW has done in the 5 to 6 years I've heard of him.
Yes.
I want to watch Orange Cassidy now. I want to tune in to Dynamite next week to see how Orange Cassidy responds to what happened.
Yes.
And I can't say that I've ever said I want to tune into AEW or Dynamite to see what happens to Orange Cassidy. That's not to say he wasn't a great professional wrestler.
He was a great international champion.
He was. Go ahead.
He was what? They call it the All Atlantic Championship when he had it, right? The international title. Either way, he was a great international champion. Like I said on Twitter or on X, if this leads to an AEW title or an AEW title run, I'm all for it. He was great as a champion before, and this serious character is what people have been wanting for a while now at an OC. And Man, you're correct when you say this. The BCC has been on fire here lately, and it's only going to get better. And people got to get on that. Get on that train. Get on the train now.
So, and here's kind of the main point that I was making with Orange Cassidy. Orange Cassidy has always been a great professional wrestler. He's always had a really funny character, a really cool character.
Yes.
But the one thing about his character is it never made me say, well, I've got to watch next week to see what happens to Orange Cassidy.
Yeah.
Because all he did was come out, stick his hands in his pants, have a great match, which is awesome. It's awesome to have a great match. He's got the gimmick.
Yeah.
But the gimmick he had and the fact that they never really told long-term stories is I never came into a Wednesday going, oh crap, I need to watch Dynamite to see what happens with Orange Cassidy.
No, I feel that. I feel that.
I will watch next week to see what happens with Orange Cassidy because of everything that happened last night.
Oh yeah.
And that is 100% a change for the storytelling style that they've done for him and for the company altogether.
It's gotten so much.
I said it last week when they started the whole BCC takeover thing. I mean, it's creating an NWO style effect, where people are going to say or a bloodline effect that it had with the WWE. People, you have to tune in next week to see what they're going to do.
Exactly.
Teasing, hey, we're going to take out somebody. We're not going to say who it is, but it may not be who you think, and they end up taking out Beretta or the Orange's friend to get to Orange. And they teased it at the beginning of the night. Yeah, they teased it at the beginning. They did all that, and they showed where they had the relationship. Man, we used to live together. Why are you not stepping up? I know you have it in you. We're best friends. And then you go murder that guy again, who also has a connection to Wheeler Yuta, which is why Yuta hesitated to put the chair around his neck. He started to do it around his leg.
Yep, the ankle.
And then they said, no. We don't just hurt people here. We kill them.
Yeah,
we do it, BCC.
Yeah.
And Orange. I would imagine he gets a world title shot. I don't know that he wins either because I don't know what you want to do, how long you want to keep this with Moxley. I think this has the chance to build up a lot of stars in AEW.
Oh, it does.
I think it may end up with a Swerve or an Ospreay, one of your traditional faces or stars coming through and having to fight off the BCC for that championship to get your championship back for your company. Or maybe even an Omega when he comes back and kind of get some more matches under him. I don't think Orange is the one to do that, but I think he is a good leader right now until everybody else wraps up other stuff that they have going on.
WCW Sting. I just thought about this. Darby Allin is the savior of AEW. WCW Sting was the savior of WCW against the NWO. Won the title. Everyone comes out, hoists them up, up on the shoulders. We're getting it. Darby Allin's about to take that title.
You say so. I don't see that in Darby Allin. I think he can be a good character in it. I think he can be a good soldier in the fight for AEW. I don't see him winning the title though.
No, I get it.
I would see Orange Cassidy winning the title before I saw Darby Allin.
No, yeah, you're right.
Darby Allin can focus on taking out the Elite because you still have that group out there, which is not part of the BCC, still in power. Let Darby Allin go take out Jack Perry and some other guys take out, the Young Bucks, and let them kind of do that little side faction. That way, everything's not wrapped up in the BCC. Because you still got to have other stories, otherwise that will get stale. Everybody's talked about it at WWE. It's all bloodline all the time. All bloodline all the time. That's
Judgment Day this,
that's
Judgment Day that.
Yep, exactly. I agree. You said it last week. Davey agrees with you. Jay White has got to keep an eye on as the next champion.
Yes, I am a big fan of Jay White. I've been saying that for a while now. Jay White deserves a title shot. I don't care what title. Just don't give him the Continental.
Give him the Continental. Let him make that into something.
Yeah.
Let's see. Jay's going after the contract for Christian. I would love to see that. Yeah, sorry, I accidentally clicked on that. It popped up as I was trying to take the other one off. I'm still learning, guys. I apologize. It's my first day. But yeah, I could definitely see that. I would like to see him take that off of Christian because I don't want to see Christian versus Moxley. I don't think that does anything for anybody really. Christian can get into a lot of other stuff. You can run a similar storyline they had in New Japan with Jay and Kota Ibushi. That's true.
Oh
They
yeah.
could definitely do that. Other things from Dynamite. We kind of started with the big one first. Yeah, you do have the Young Bucks and the Elite losing to Daniel Garcia and Private Party. Private Party calling the Young Bucks out after the match and essentially putting their team on the line for a title shot next week at I think they're calling it Fright Night.
Yeah, I think so.
Something like that. So it's AEW, the Bucks against Private Party. If Private Party wins, they're obviously the tag team champions. If the Young Bucks win, Private Party's no more. I know they're one of your favorite tag teams. What do you think, Sven?
It's time to pull the trigger. Give them the belts. Don't break them up. They're getting great again. They lost that 200+ pound, and I get he's a great mentor, Matt Hardy. He was a great mentor. He showed them the ropes. He showed them how to do things. But it's time to give Private Party their due. They've been doing this for what, 4 years now, 5 years now in the company, paying their dues. It's their time. Give it to them.
There you go. So I think kind of the same thing I said with the Street Profits. I think they could actually do pretty well with a split. I don't know that they'll do it because I don't want them to do it as much as I would want them to do with the Street Profits, just because right now WWE has more established tag teams that can take that spot, especially over on SmackDown. That you've seen with, you've got DIY, you've got the Motor City Machine Guns, you've got the Bloodline, you've got all these other tag teams that can take off if the Street Profits lose. There aren't as many strong tag teams right now. I know there's a lot that have been in the past. I don't want to see Private Party get broken up yet. I want to see them dethrone the Bucks.
Yes.
And let them have a title run. I agree, Davey. I think they need the titles next Wednesday.
Thank you, Davey.
Start kind of poking away at the Elite power to where they get rid of some of their belt. Even if you don't have Jack Perry lose, even if you don't have Okada lose, it's
Okada's got to be doing something different here soon, man. That guy's so great in the ring. He needs to be doing international championship, TNT championship, AEW, something. He needs to be in that picture. That Continental title just reminds me of a European title back in the day with the WWE or WWF days,
And I agree 100% with Davey that Private Party would get lost as a single star. Again, comparing them to the Street Profits, I know that's a weird comparison. Not really. They're fairly similar. I think if you put Montez or Dawkins as a single star, I don't think it's as cluttered. You could immediately put Montez in the U.S. title picture.
Oh, easy.
No matter who wins, whether it's Andrade or anything like that.
Think about Montez as
like
U.S. champion, being
I
ex-Marine.
mean, any of that would be good. But yeah, I agree. Private Party needs to have they don't need to break up. There's too much other stuff going on singles wise there. That I think they should win and keep going. Okada's likely to heat up with the C1 starting. That's true.
That is true. I totally forgot about that. Yeah, he's right.
He's going to be a great representative for AEW over there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, look, man, I know you're fairly new to our show. We appreciate you coming in. We've been saying this from the beginning. Montez has everything you want. He's got the charisma. He's got the in-ring game. He's got the look.
Man, You said U.S. champion Montez Ford, and I can't get it out of my. He does a Marine persona, and he gets that U.S. title around his waist. But as an ex-Marine that he is, oh man, it's on. It's like that would be beautiful.
Oh yeah. Other stuff that happened on AEW. Shelton Benjamin makes his debut. Destroys Sammy Guevara.
Yeah, I was gonna say he threw Sammy so hard. Sammy did like 3 rotations in the air before he hit the ground. He looked like a cartoon, just sitting there for a second. Yeah.
Yep. The callback to his match with Shawn Michaels, where he springboard and gets the sweet chin music or the super kick was really cool.
Yeah.
Kind of. I guess I don't know if that's him just wanting to do a callback or if that's him saying, "All right, Sammy, I think you could be in this position in 20 years." Man. If you keep going what you're doing. So, I mean, really good debut. Sammy. I do too. I think he's a good wrestler.
I think he is. He's crazy.
I think he's a good heel. Yes. I don't know how I like him as a babyface. He's kind of got that Miz vibe to me where it's easier to hate him than it is to like him.
Yes.
But I think he's really good in the ring.
He learned from really great people. He was with Jericho for 2 years. in the inner circle, and he had dang, oh my god, I can't think of their name right now. They were a tag team and they're brothers. I can't think of their names right now.
Oh, skip over it.
Yeah.
Speaking of Jericho, that was my only sad face of the night. Jericho defeating Mark Briscoe for the ROH title.
Everybody hated that.
I get, and again, I've talked about stories, how I'm a huge storyline guy, which is why it's been so hard for me to pick up AEW a lot until recently. Let's see, Shelton is 2-0 in AEW. Oh, that's right. He did face Leo. That's right. I forgot about the Leo Russ match. That's right. Was that on Collision, maybe? But yeah, so he's 2-0 there.
Yeah, MVPs.
So that wasn't his debut. That was his Dynamite debut, I guess. But he destroyed him. It's going to be interesting to see. I think next week he actually faces Swerve,
Santana,
which is. Huh?
I was thinking of Santana and something else. I was thinking of their names. They were the inner circle.
Oh gosh, you're still on that.
Man, it was just in my head.
I'm trying to get away from Jericho as quickly as possible.
And I'm
thinking about Jericho.
I'm not. No,
I'm thinking about it. We're moving on. I gave him 2 seconds. I don't want to give him or any group any more time.
Santana Ortiz. Yeah, I got it. There it is.
But no, Shelton Benjamin had a great match. I'm looking forward to Swerve and Shelton next week on Dynamite. I think it's going to be a great match. I don't know. I mean, that's one of those situations where I don't know who loses. I mean, because you don't want Shelton to lose in his third match in AEW or fourth match at that time. I don't. Maybe you have Bobby Lashley come in next week and cost Swerve, and that's how they kind of build that up. And that way you don't have to have either one of them technically lose, maybe. But as much as I love both of them, I don't know who I want to win that match. Do you?
No, I don't know, honestly. I do know this. We'll put it this way. When Bobby Lashley comes in into AEW, there's going to be a big game changer. Like the momentum shift for the heavyweight division, the main event scene. There's going to be little changes going on. I'm really excited to see Bobby Lashley come in with Hangman, around the corner. You got Swerve matches that could happen. So many things are about to happen with Bobby Lashley there. And Shelton. Shelton's doing great.
I'm going to be that guy. I've never been a huge Bobby Lashley fan.
Yeah, see, I have.
I mean, he's boring to me.
That's fine. I mean,
just like his promos are just all kind of monotone and like I've never seen him get excited about anything.
No, I feel that. Well,
I've never really connected with him.
I mean, he kind of, for me, he gives off like an NCO vibe, like a sergeant vibe.
Obviously he's a military guy. I mean, I can see that.
He's straight business. That's all he is. And that's what I like about him. He's just straight business. He does what he needs to do and gets out. Yeah.
Yeah. And there's Davey agreeing that it's probably the debut.
Yeah.
So you think Swerve beats Shelton and then he comes out. See, I think they may have Lashley come out and cause a DQ. So maybe there's not a clean finish. So neither one of them have to take a clean finish in that match. It's kind of how I think it would end, just so you protect both of them.
What if Lashley spears Benjamin instead of Swerve? And then we got Lashley and Swerve connection going up against MVP and his people.
I think that's because the MVP, I don't know that he's getting in the ring.
Oh yeah, that's right. MVP's done.
I think they want to do the Hurt Syndicate in AEW. I don't think there's any way they go.
I was just throwing something out there. Yeah, I was just throwing something out there.
And then he'd watch for EJ and Duca appearance. There you go. Well, see, I get they don't do a ton of DQs, but I think that's why it would make it unique. Having somebody come in like that, I think it would be an interesting way to. Again, they haven't done a lot of the stuff like they're doing with the BCC now, so it seems like they're having a not necessarily fundamental change, but a slight change in how they do some things. And I think if you do a DQ finish every now and then, not like the way WWE does it when they're doing it 2 or 3 times a show, which is one of the knocks I have on WWE is they don't let matches just finish and then do your angle after the match. I think it would work well in AEW to have a DQ right there in that situation, protect all performers involved, and then let it go down the line. But yeah, I definitely want them to put it together. I think it's gonna be a great match between Swerve and Shelton. I'm glad to see Shelton getting what he deserves, getting the spotlight, and getting to showcase what he's got. Um, other things I saw, the great match from Camille. I'm a huge Camille fan. Squash match for her. Then you got the Chris Statlander angle after the match. That's going to be a good match between Camille and Chris Statlander next week.
That's gonna be a banger.
Yeah, thank you, sir. I appreciate that. It would work. I as much as I want Chris Statlander, I don't even know who I want to win that match. I don't even know I can call it because I like both of them. And I followed Camille. Hell, I found her through. I'm a big softball fan, so when she used to play softball at Florida, and then she became a wrestler. So, and it was against Queen Aminata was Camille Squatch, and Aminata is the future world champion according to Davey. I like what I've seen from her. I'm not as familiar with her, I'll be completely honest, but I've liked what I've seen so far. I think she could definitely, maybe go after TBS championship, or maybe she kind of, goes after Ring of Honor, maybe, something like that. I don't know that she's going to go up against Mariah May or anything like that, but I think she's definitely a great wrestler in the women's division there. The only other note I have on AEW was the promo by Kyle Fletcher, which I thought was amazing. Probably one of the better promos I've ever seen from Kyle Fletcher. It's had a lot of passion to it. Dude just started shaving his head in the middle of the promo or at the end of the promo. And as a bald-headed guy myself, I can appreciate that. I think it's going to be a great match between him and Kyle Fletcher. I think the way they're setting it up is amazing. Not really brother, but a brother versus brother style match. What do you think about all the Don Callis family? We'll put all the Don Callis family in because you had Cage and Lance Archer make their debut too. So what do you think about Fletcher and the rest of the Callis family?
What did you call that finishing, that powerbomb choke slam on X earlier when Brian Cage?
I called it the murder cage.
The murder cage. I was thinking
you have the murder hawk and Brian Cage.
Yeah.
And so with his choke slam and the power bomb, I called it the murder cage.
That was actually pretty cool. I'm looking forward to the match. Kyle Fletcher his game stepped up since he's arrived in the States. Can we be real for a second? His in-ring's gotten a lot better. Yes, it was great before. Let's not get that twisted. But his promo game has gotten a heck of a lot better. And who shaves their head in the middle of a promo? Who does that?
You got to mean it because there ain't no going back for that for at least a few months.
No,
you mean business.
Now you mean
it don't grow back.
Well, look at Angle. He knows that for sure. Yeah. But no, I'm enjoying what I'm seeing with the Don Callis family. They actually have a faction right there that could make some noise here soon, with more gold. You could see Brian Cage and Lance Archer as tag team champions. And I'm not just saying Ring of Honor, folks. I'm saying AEW tag team champions, or you can see
they would be a great opponent for Private Party a few months down the line.
They would actually. But that would mean
they would kill
Party would lose. Yeah,
they would kill them. They'd put one of them in the murder cage, and then they'd take the title.
But Don Callis.
Hashtag murder cage.
Murder cage. There you go. There it is. Murder cage. But when Don Callis doesn't get enough credit for doing what he does, man. Look who he makes people a star. Kenny Omega, star under Don Callis. Takashi, star under Don Callis. Look at Brian Lance Archer and Brian Cage. Those guys are a star now. And then now you got Kyle Fletcher, who nobody thought was going to be anything but a sidekick to Will Ospreay. Yeah.
So definitely with everything going on like that, we talked about Don Callis family. We talked about the Elite and the Private Party. We talked about the women's matches there, with the BCC. I mentioned it last week, and I'll reiterate it now. If the storytelling that they've got going on right now doesn't pick up new fans from WWE who see week in and week out the continual stories instead of just they've always had great matches. We've always said that. But now some of the more compelling week to week stories, if this doesn't get their viewership up, I don't know what will.
I think if people don't start, and like I said when we started this, back-to-back weeks with 630 plus thousand, that's really good for AEW, especially with hockey coming around, and the opening night of basketball was around. The World Series is coming up, stuff like that. AEW is getting really good, and people are going to start noticing it. Like people started noticing TNA when they started getting really good. And that's what's about to happen, and I'm not saying they're going to hit 1 million at the end of the year, but I think they'll hit 800,000 by the end of the year.
Okay, there you go. And there it makes kind of a reference to the Omega Ospreay storyline they did a few years back. I'd agree with that. They started out together, broke up, and they had some amazing matches. I think Kyle Fletcher could do that with Ospreay. I think it's going to be amazing stuff going around. Kevin, I'm not sure why you're on a wrestling podcast talking about wrestling, but hey, we appreciate you coming in. Please let us know. Let us know what your thoughts.
Go Hawks.
If you don't like wrestling, that's fine. We get it. Wrestling's not for everybody. Just like nothing's for everybody. Everybody's got their detractors, but we appreciate you coming in, leaving a couple comments, helping the algorithm. I'm not going to argue with it.
I'm not going to argue.
All right, moving right along. We will try to get out of here pretty quick because I know we got a couple of other things, and we're already almost at an hour and a half. This is the longest episode we've ever had.
Yeah, that's probably my fault.
No, you're good. Twitter submission of the week from Wrestling News Co. Should Goldust be a WWE Hall of Famer? Dustin Rhodes, now in AEW as a trios and tag team champion for Ring of Honor, was in WWE forever. And you brought this up to us. You're the one that that asked about it, so I'll let you go first.
I got 5 reasons why he should be. Yes, sure. He should be a Hall of Famer. Think about this: Goldust versus Razor Ramon in the mid 1990s. All right, Razor Ramon, the bad guy. You got Goldust and his unique character going up against the bad guy. Phenomenal match, phenomenal everything. Go back and watch that. You'll thank me later. The second one is Goldust versus Triple H. Thank you. Goldust versus Triple H in the late 1990s, featuring both in-ring competition, personal attacks. The feud included high-profile matches that showcased Goldust's ability to deliver compelling storylines and drama. That's where Goldust started shining even more, folks. And then we're going to keep it in the late 90s. Goldust versus Undertaker. Go back and watch those. I mean, you got the supernatural being of the Undertaker versus the unique character of Goldust. Great. I actually went back and watched them. Then my favorite one, the 2000s, Goldust and Booker T. Even the tag team, all right, when they were fighting each other, the tag team, everything about it. You had Goldust sitting, squatting next to Booker, talking to him and doing all these crazy, funny promos and everything. Goldust deserves to be in the Hall of Fame over a lot of other people from the Attitude Era, in my opinion. But yes, Goldust should be in based off those 5 reasons right there.
Is it my turn now?
Yes, if you can. Oh, and Cody Rhodes. That was the 5th one. His match against Cody Rhodes.
No, so I will be short and sweet about it. I for all the reasons you just said, I will sum it up and say yes, he should definitely be in the Hall of Fame. He's had a career that's lasted decades. He has done every different character that you can want. He's been a good guy. He's been a bad guy. He's been a spooky character. He's been, the androgynous character. He's been a serious character.
Yes.
And even later in his career, he's been a tag team wrestler. He's been, a singles champion. I mean, he's done it all. There's no way that you can't talk about the history of the WWE if you're going in depth. I mean, you can gloss over a lot, when you're talking about a high level. But when you look at it, like you said, I don't think Razor Ramon turns into what he is if he doesn't have that feud with Goldust.
Yes.
I don't think Cody Rhodes ends up being what he is if he doesn't have his brother with him there towards the end. I mean, I said in one of our earlier shows, I was a fan of Stardust. I didn't mind that character.
I like
I
Stardust.
liked the tag team.
Yeah.
I thought their tag team was great. They could have done a lot of stuff with their tag team. Um, you know, Davey mentions the first, Dustin and Cody at the first ever Double or Nothing 2019. An amazing match. Doesn't necessarily go into the WWE Hall of Fame just yet as part of that, as part of AEW. But that, again, you can't take away that match from his career.
Well,
and he should be a multi-time Hall of Famer.
yes.
Like I mentioned, currently a double champ, 6-man and ROH tag team title holder with Sammy Guevara with the tag team, and then the Von Erichs is the trios. But definitely 100% should be a Hall of Famer. And obviously, it's probably not going to happen until he retires and leaves AEW because they're not going to bring him over from AEW. So there's some logistical stuff that has to happen there before they'll bring him in.
They did it with Billy Gunn.
Yeah, that's different though.
But no, look, can we all respect the fact that he left WCW because they wanted him to play a BS character, and he got on live TV and he's like, "I'm done with this crap. I'm done with all this bull crap." Yeah,
yeah. But definitely, we both agree. I've seen a lot of people online. I looked through the comments of this. It is fairly unanimous. He should definitely be a Hall of. He should definitely be a Hall of Famer. Moving on to the segment we have every week at the end of the show, the TRI Matchmaker Series. Again, thank you guys on Twitter for giving us some great suggestions. This is a fan suggestion. Stampede gave us to us in our group chat, in a wrestling group chat that I'm in. He also put it on Twitter. You've got Bruiser Brody, Terry Funk, John Moxley, and Mick Foley. I don't know why that name slipped my head out of all of them. I thought I'd have trouble with Bruiser Brody. And we're going to make this the battle for the hardcore title, the TRI hardcore title, just because they're all, hardcore legends. And you always go first, Fed. Who you got and why?
All right. So this match is going to start off chaotic. We all know that.
Oh, right? There's Stampede. So Davey is the person that actually put this up for. So thank you, Davey. I appreciate it. I should have got that from your profile picture being Bruiser Brody. I should have put that together. I did not. So I appreciate you coming in and staying with us. And please let us know how you think the match will go in the comments and see how it compares to ours.
Well, like I said, I think this is going to start off chaotic. All 4 men are known for the hard-hitting, chaotic style. All right. But let's get into this a little bit. Terry Funk's going to pull out some classic stuff, trash cans, chairs, kidno sticks, something. Okay, he's going to come out with some hardcore stuff. We already know that. He's probably going to hit John Moxley over the head, knock him out type of deal for a little bit. All right. And then Brody will likely throw around both Cactus Jack and Funk, showcasing his power. But that's when Moxley comes back in. Sneaks attack. Bam. Moxley and Cactus will engage in a series of intense exchanges, exchanging strikes, utilizing their environment for the advantage. So anything around the ring is fair game. We both know how this is going to go. All right, so this is how the finish is going to go in my book. In the end, I see John Moxley winning RI Hardcore Championship because, man, Moxley is just freaking crazy. Out of all these guys, Moxley is nuts, and we all know it. Somehow, some way, he's going to figure out how to hit his finishing on someone. I think I said, what was it? Moxley's resilience and willingness to embrace the chaos would give him an edge, solidifying his status as a top contender in this brutal showdown. And that's why I think he wins.
Okay, so there you go. And this will 100% show the difference between Sped's style and mine. You notice Sped had a full page of notes that he wrote down to detail the match. It's a feel for me. It's a feel. I mean, I look at these 4 people, and they're all, again, 3 hardcore legends and a future hardcore legend in Moxley. And it just comes down to who I think is the craziest out of all of them. And while I think John Moxley is crazy, and so is Funk, and so is Bruiser Brody, I don't know that you get more crazy than Mick Foley and Cactus Jack. Everything I've seen the man do, in any promotion, not just WWE, because he got crazier in other promotions across, overseas.
Yokohama death matches, man. Yokohama death matches.
And it's a hardcore match, so it's hard to book. They just beat the shit out of each other. That's all there is to it. You let them do whatever they want. They beat the crap out of each other. And Mick Foley ends up just outlasting everybody. And I don't think there's anything you can do to kill Cactus Jack. So I think Cactus Jack wins it. I think he becomes the hardcore champion. I'll say he pins Funk just because of all the legendary matches they've had together. Again, Bruiser Brody and Moxley can take each other out and go, kill each other in the parking lot on the side, however you need to do it. But I would have Mick Foley pinning Terry Funk to kind of finally end their lifelong feud that they've had together, for 40 years now, probably. But it doesn't get any better than Mick Foley or Cactus Jack in this case. One of the faces of Foley coming in as a hardcore legend, taking out 3 other hardcore legends, and rising to the top there.
Yeah, I feel that.
So, maybe if you're still in there, I'd love to know what you think. You leave something in the comments as we go to the last segment of the show, the one everybody waits for, where I shut the hell up. We let Sped have one final word, and then we get out of here. Here we go. So I think it's spread out all throughout the arena. I agree with that. And no surprise really with your avatar or your profile picture. You think Brody wins it because you've got Bruiser Brody as the picture there. It's no surprise and no shade to anybody else. I think Bruiser Brody would be great. I think it'd be an awesome match. But thank you, sir, for coming in. And since it will be Sped's final word, I will say thank you to all of the people in the comments, everybody watching. Even the guy who said we suck because we like wrestling. Thank you, Lady Alpha. Everybody else for watching. And with that, I'll let Sped have his final word. You're up, buddy.
All right, listen, I'm not even going to be on camera for this one. This one deserves the WrestleMania logo with London on it all day. So tonight, folks, we're going to talk about this. This is what Sped wants to talk about. Sped feels like this is a slap in the face to every UK fan out there right now, right? The fact that London is going to look at the Super Bowl before WrestleMania, it's got to be a slap to you guys in the face, all right? Now, this is the reason why I think that. From a WWE to AEW, even New Japan Pro Wrestling, the United Kingdom has proven time and time again that they are a legitimate wrestling fan base. The numbers don't lie. Even like Clash at the Castle and All In Wembley were massive hits. Wrestling in the UK is huge, and fans line up in droves to watch their favorite promotions. Let's not forget that the historical context here. WWE has already held major pay-per-views in the United Kingdom. SummerSlam 92 at Wembley Stadium remains one of the most iconic shows in wrestling history, with a record-breaking crowd that still stands out in the minds of fans today. That even alone sets the stage for a long-standing relationship between WWE and the UK audience itself, a relationship that's only grown bigger and bigger over the years. On the other side of this, you got the NFL just starting to make headway in London. Sure, it's interesting, but is it really on par with the WWE in wrestling at all? All right, not yet. Only Americans would honestly be interested in the Super Bowl right now, while WrestleMania brings fans from every parts of the globe. From fan experience perspective, there's no question that the passion of these people in London and the UK deserve a WrestleMania. There's no question about that. Even John Cena has said this before. WrestleMania needs to go to London. London deserves a WrestleMania. And the UK wrestling fans create a unique experience for both the wrestlers and the audience, something that WrestleMania could really benefit from. Imagine the grandest stage of them all with the fans, these guys, with these guys. Imagine that for a minute. Man, it would be freaking crazy. And man, when it comes to pure economics, think about it in this perspective. Let's put WrestleMania up against the Super Bowl real fast. When it comes down to economics, WrestleMania 39 was held in Los Angeles, right? It grossed over $200 million. Meanwhile, Arizona hosted a Super Bowl one year and only grossed between 130 and 150 million. That's a big difference. 50 to 70 million difference right there. London is losing money over the Super Bowl. All right. And then now we all know WrestleMania is not just a North American thing. It's not just a United States thing at all. All right. By hosting it, London, WWE could solidify its global appeal even more, expanding its footprint and key market that has been proven time and time again to be a passionate, loyal, and deserving such recognition. So the UK wrestling fans out there, keep pushing for WrestleMania because you guys deserve it. You guys really do deserve a WrestleMania. And that's all I got to say about that.
All right. Great way to do it. Great way to end it. Thank you, Sped. Have a great night, brother. Everybody, thank you for joining us.